Welcome back, everybody, to Dan Drew. We are going to be talking about. I don't even know where we can rank this at. I mean,
The Deadpool 2s?
yeah.
The Deadpools?
The Deadpools. We
The
can't.
Dos La Piscina de la Muertes.
Dos.
Dos.
What would this rank as far as anticipated movies? Because I feel like I don't think I could say it's more anticipated than Infinity War.
No, I think this was one that kind of snuck up behind me. I was like, oh yeah, I know that's coming out soon.
Yeah.
But then when it did drop, I was like, oh yeah, that's today. So
Yeah.
expectation-wise for me, it was pretty standard because...
Now
We should briefly recap our thoughts on the first Deadpool because we actually got to see the double
our
feature.
theater did a double feature. Thank God.
So
Yes.
it was precisely 4 hours and 20 minutes of Deadpool 1 and 2 because there was a little intermission in between.
Right.
But yeah, we got to see the first one followed by the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So my general consensus on rewatching the first one, because I had only seen it from back when it came out, which was 2 years ago now, I think.
2 years, and I've seen it maybe like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, okay. So you're like very...
I
got this movie down.
I've got this movie down.
Okay.
It was a simple plot to begin with.
Yeah.
But that's probably all the rewatching you need to memorize it.
And from what I remember, it was like... Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, it's a lot of Ryan
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds humor with that kind of thing, and I
Yeah.
liked it pretty good. And then rewatching it, I was like, man, I forgot how good that was. Like,
Yeah, it holds up very well. Actually.
yes, the balance of humor between the thing I always bring up is that middle section where the torture scenes start happening.
Yeah,
with Francis.
that's-
Those are really intense for like a dark comedy.
Mm-hmm.
They really know when to stop the comedy, and like you feel his hate for Francis. It's
Oh, yeah.
like. They handled that, I think, exceptionally well. So I was going to say it was the first one was better than I remember. Mm-hmm. You probably didn't get anything from the sixth viewing.
I still enjoy it. I still like hearing all the creative slurs and whatnot.
Yeah, on the big screen.
Just,
How often does that happen? So
Yeah.
so then
But
moving
then-
into the second one,
The second one.
thoughts?
It was
I'm gonna
good.
let- you
It
like
was very good. It was
Okay.
solid. I don't know if I could say it was any better than the first one. Because
Really? Okay.
I think that's the thing with sequels.
I've had some people
I-
tell me they liked it more than the first one, but I'm curious your thoughts.
I think that
Being a hardcore Deadpool.
for me,
Yeah.
for me personally, yeah, right. For me personally, I think it was a good movie. I
Yes.
can totally see why someone would say this is better than the original
Okay.
because I think there's a bit. I feel like they got a little bit more action into it. They had a lot more creativity to deal with because it was like, okay, people at the studio were just like, okay, this is marketable, this is safe,
Right.
do whatever the hell you want,
Yeah.
Ryan.
They're
And-
like, we saw your box office success.
You're good.
Now
You're
you
good."
can do whatever. So they gave them way more
Exactly.
money. Yeah.
And like I'm trying to think of movies that like sequels that surpass the original. The only thing that comes to mind is like T2.
I think a Dark Knight.
There you go.
I think of like Batman Begins box office was like,
Yeah,
but then
so-
Dark Knight happened and they were like, oh, okay, we got fire now. So
Yeah. And
It
it's
was-
like, so I think it's really difficult to unilaterally find a sequel that's better than the first movie.
it's safe to say it's fairly rare.
Exactly.
It does happen, but it's not all the time.
It's only a few examples. So
Mm-hmm.
some people can say this is better than the original. I think it's just as it's just as much an achievement for it to be of the same quality as
the fact that it's not stupidly terrible
yeah.
is
I mean,
an achievement.
Like another movie I can think of like that was like A Game of Shadows, following the 2009 Sherlock Holmes.
Right,
And I
yes.
was like, that's good.
Yeah.
So I think that's
they were
a good
both
thing there.
fine. Yeah.
And I think we should get the biggest spoiler out of the way now.
But I'll give my
there
general
are no,
impressions.
There's no Stan Lee cameo.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
That didn't even cross my mind. He
Uh-huh.
was in the first one.
yeah.
Is that like official or did we miss it?
No, we didn't.
He just
that's official.
wasn't in it.
He
Oh,
just
wow.
wasn't in it. I know that he's had to slow down because of his age and he's not doing.
You
as
know,
well.
it's understandable.
But yeah, no. But we did get a better cameo. But we'll get into that later.
Right. So my general consensus is actually fairly similar. That I felt kind of like not in such a bad way, but I was getting kind of the Age of Ultron vibe of like
Okay.
we're starting to see the beginning of the problem, which ended up not being a problem for Avengers because I really liked Infinity War. But
Yeah.
with Deadpool 2, I was like, we're getting the Green Lantern sucks.
Yeah.
We're getting the X-Men Origins sucks. We're getting the baby appendages growing back. Well, all funny, and from the first one, just kind of a lot of the same jokes were being brought up again, and it was like, yes, you still look like an avocado, and maybe that happened because
I was really hoping that they would get rid of T.J. Miller by this point. I was really hoping Cable was going to kill him. He's the same person every time,
right? Well, there's a lot of actors that are like that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
like at least
we even noticed this in rewatching the first one, where he's like, "That's the poop emoji," and I was like, "Why couldn't they have made an emoji movie joke in Deadpool 2? Or at least like this is the Greatest Showman joke about Hugh Jackman or something." I was expecting those kinds of jokes, but a lot of it ended up going the same route of T.J. Miller isn't interested. He's like, "You guys can go off and save the day, and I won't have to." And he does that again.
Yeah.
And he's growing. He has little baby appendages now. Again, it's just a lot of the humor kind of felt.
It felt like a bit of a rehash, but there were other times where it's like, okay, no, this actually works. Like,
there was a lot of really good, different humor this time.
Like,
for sure.
I love the joke when Cable is just beating the living crap out of Deadpool. It's like, "You're really dark. You sure you're not from the DC universe?"
Yeah, that was a good line.
That was a
great
line.
I think my favorite joke in the movie was "Dubstep is for wussies" or something like that.
Yeah.
When they just start having a fight scene to Skrillex. And there was a lot of good humor in there, and I also agree with you that it's a good movie. I wasn't disappointed by Deadpool 2, but I think that maybe it's just because I watched both of them back to back. I was like, I really felt his pain, and I really wanted him to like brutally destroy Francis in the first one.
Yeah.
And in this one, I'm not really sure if there is a villain. There's the like creepy doctor.
I think it's more of a personal journey just for Deadpool, as far as not so much a revenge thing, but just like growing as a person and like, okay, maybe I can find a better way to help people here and there. I did like how they brought in Juggernaut. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I know in the prediction video I said something about how, like, in the cast they actually have a person playing Black Tom Cassidy.
Oh,
and he's like kind of a, I don't know like what kind of list, villain he is for Deadpool.
Yeah.
He's up there with one of the more recognizable ones.
Okay.
And they just straight up shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty awesome.
So he's gone. Yeah.
So he's gone, and I love how they got Terry Crews, Bill Skarsgård, and all these
the X-Force,
and they just kill everybody except Domino and Deadpool.
Yeah, it was funny, but I was kind of like interested to see where that was going. But I also get the joke because they knew I would think that. I like the Vanish. The
Vanish is Brad Pitt.
It's just
that was great.
It's just invisible. Yeah, there was a lot of creative humor in there, but I think what I found more impressive about Deadpool was that it was a bit more than a dark comedy.
Okay.
It was like it had the dark comedy elements and they were funny.
It was still terrifying.
But it also had that moment where you were like, "Oh, I feel for him." Whereas this one, I feel like was a good dark comedy, dark humor.
But the sans that moment where you kind of feel.
But it wasn't really lacking that moment where I was like, "Oh man, this is really sad." Like when
I can kind of see it for like him wanting to die to be with his wife,
right?
Or
so we're getting into spoilers now.
Yeah. If you didn't expect that already.
If you're staying for this, you may realize that it might not even matter.
Yeah.
If you've seen the end credits, which is that basically in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
It was very quickly his girlfriend that he fought so hard to protect dies.
Gets killed,
and he kills himself multiple times afterwards.
I like
the credits are all joking about it. They're like, "Oh my God, did we really just do that?" Or
produced by one of the guys who killed John Wick's dog.
Yeah. So the credits, once again, that's another one of those jokes that's like it's the running theme, where it's like the credits are. But this one was a bit different because Deadpool was doing the James Bond kind of intros.
Oh my God.
Those were funny. Yeah, like there was a lot of laughable
Flashdance.
Yeah,
showcasing just.
Right, that was a glorious shot. I think
was...
everyone in the theater audibly was like, "Yes,
yeah,
that was perfect."
There's
shot.
like,
yes, slow clap that one.
Slow clap it out.
Yeah, but so yeah, the humor is definitely there, but I think I've said this 3 times now, but
how'd you feel about Cable?
See, that was what I was going to go into next. Was like he starts out as the bad guy, as the antagonist.
Called it. I knew he wasn't going to be the bad guy.
Well, you know much more about Deadpool. It makes sense that me seeing the movie once, that's my knowledge. I was like, oh, that's the guy who plays Thanos. That's funny. And luckily they referenced that. I was waiting for them to reference that. There were even some scenes in it where he starts talking like Thanos, like when he's interrogating TJ Miller. He starts going, your destiny will arise. And I was like, okay, well,
just take it easy.
Pick a different character now, all right? Have a smaller chin now. You know, keep it light. But I think that was the joke because they're like, zip it, Thanos. So
yeah,
lot of good self-aware humor.
Right.
Like that guy in the bar, he goes, no more talking lines for you. Get out of here.
Yeah, no more speaking lines for you, Buck. And he's just like,
and he just moves off. Yeah. So there's, I think Cable was I was kind of interested to see where they were going, but I found the 180 change in character a little
weird.
But the problem is they acknowledge it. That's something that I'm starting to not be a fan of is when they say, well, that's lazy writing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, you're making fun of the tropes, but then you're doing the tropes.
Yeah.
So does that make it okay? Or is it just like, well, yeah, you're right.
Like,
it is lazy writing.
This is one thing that kind of bugged me.
I guess you acknowledge it, but...
This is kind of something that bugged me about it. So,
okay.
like, at the end, after everything's been said and done, he's, you know, Deadpool, he put on this color that they have for, like, mutants that they put in prison. That
yeah,
like,
it turns off their
powers and just turns them normal.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts it on because he's trying to plead to this kid, what's his name, Julian? Russell?
I'm sorry, I've forgotten. But yeah.
Fire Fist, anyway.
Really good actor, that kid.
He was good.
Yeah, New Zealander.
But he was trying to plead to him, hey, don't do this. Doesn't have to be this way. He's like, I can't trust you, so Cable decides to shoot at him, but Deadpool stops the bullet with his chest. Mm-hmm. And the thing about these things is like, okay, we see at one point when he's getting out of the prison, the icebox.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so he just gets this thing, like he gets his back broken in like at least 15 different places.
Oh, yeah, that was a great shot.
And then he just, as it comes off, he's like, hi, superpowers. Totally fine. So I was like, okay, now, here's where it gets weird. Because Cable only has the one charge left to get back home after saving, you know, the future.
He has a time machine watch, so Deadpool universe is now time traveling.
Yeah.
Which at the end they do
They
like
joke
crazy.
around about.
Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry, I was just kind of kicking a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah. But, so Deadpool dies. Yeah. And... but Thanos, it's
dies.
Josh Brolin. I keep getting confused. So Cable, he decides, okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit in the future and make sure Deadpool doesn't die because clearly he's saved my kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but wait, you just wasted a charge that I feel like a step was you took a step too far. Like, you stopped just at the edge of the cliff where you needed to not go, and then you're like, bloop. So he goes back in time just long enough to put like this coin that he stole from Deadpool right in front of his chest where he was going to shoot.
Right.
Shoots the coin, Deadpool lives, still has the same effect of, oh, hey, you know, the kid trusts Deadpool and he knows that he's got people he can trust. I'm like, okay, but couldn't you have just like shot him still and then taken the collar off? I mean, I know Deadpool was like, no, leave it. I want to go. It's like clearly Cable doesn't care that he wants to die.
I was going to say, like, he spent the whole first half of the movie, like, saying, like, I don't care about you, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I want to kill you. Like, he just doesn't care for him at all, but then at the end he's like release the Juggernaut, we have to stop him. And it's like, well, Juggernaut stopped by, you know, tasers in a pool. But I mean, like, the Juggernaut...
CGI fight.
Yeah, CGI fight coming, which again is one of those self-aware, like, this is a generic normal thing you're used to, now here's the generic normal thing you're used to. So it's like, you're self-aware of the cheap part, which is funny, I guess, but you're also doing it.
They can only do that so many more times before it starts to become too derivative.
I think Deadpool 3 would be interesting to see if they can still make it fresh and original, or if they're just going to keep on.
This is something that I kind of
going.
This is something I noticed a lot more recently with some of the stuff I've read, because Deadpool has always canonically broken the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's used the comedic effect. Other times it can be used for like more horrifying aspects.
Okay.
Like there's one really good trilogy called the Deadpool Trilogy, where it's all about like this one version of Deadpool that gets tortured and basically to become a more efficient killer.
Okay.
And in doing so, it works.
Uh-huh.
Like he goes on a like multiversal killing spree.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, there's one last like 2 or 3 frames of the first installment of this where he gets transferred into like the Marvel the Marvel headquarters as they're writing this comic.
Oh, okay.
And he just looks at the audience like, shh, see me? I'm coming for you. I'm coming for everybody else around you too. And like that's sinister, man.
Yeah.
And and there's other times like actually Deadpool versus Thanos is a thing.
Wow.
That wasn't my favorite one that they ever wrote.
Oh no.
But there's one point where like cuz nobody can die. I guess death is locked away somewhere and this whole thing. No one's able to be killed until they free her. And so there's one point where Thanos is working with Deadpool for a little bit, and all these people are attacking them, and Deadpool is just trying to kill him. And it's like, he's like I think he shot one of them in the chest a couple times, and he's got a sword through the other one's heart. It's like, okay, someone has to die.
Right.
This is a Marvel comic.
Yeah,
Or
so it can be self-aware in a way that's not comical.
Exactly.
And right now, like, my concern is if Deadpool 3 is kind of unoriginal and not that funny, then they'll just joke about it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, that third one, though. Boy, that was terrible. And it's like, but is it funny at that point? Or is it just like, is that your excuse for
that
unoriginality?
Reminds me of, it kind of reminds me of, like, one season in particular of Community.
Oh, okay.
So, like, because it's not a fourth wall breaking thing. It's just, like, they changed showrunners. And then they changed back to the original in the 5th season. And they had to acknowledge that everything that went down in season 4 was just downright psychotic.
Oh, okay.
And so they're like, it was a gas leak. It's like, man, last year was weird. I'm like, that doesn't help anything, though.
That's just confusing everyone now. It's just like, I mean...
Like, I don't think you could really be like, man, that third one was terrible. It's like, no, you're abusing trust at that
It's like
point.
when you're writing a sentence with a pen... and you mess up, so you just like scribble over the last 3 lines and then keep writing. It's like, okay, that doesn't. There's still this giant gap of you know. So my problem with Cable was that he acted like the Juggernaut being out changes everything. Now because you released the Juggernaut, we have to team up, and that throws out all my motivations for not liking you. But then when they get to the finale scene, they're just kind of like, oh, let Colossus deal with Juggernaut. Anyway, moving on, and that becomes like the side fight. Even though they kind of hyped up Juggernaut to be like the big, like, we gotta stop it. But not really, because it took one mutant to stop him. So, I mean, like...
I love Juggernaut's insults to Colossus.
They were good.
They were amazing.
Yeah, there's still lots of funny bits throughout the movie. I'm curious to see how that will age, but for the most part, still a really good comedy if you're into dark humor. I think anyone who liked the first Deadpool would still like Deadpool 2.
They'll still like the second one, yeah.
It's very much a similar style, but...
something's just missing a little bit.
Yeah, I think it could have used a hint of...
I would have liked to see more of what was
or-
going on with the future.
Yeah, they didn't
it's
really
like-
elaborate on that.
They never did, no. They just... Like, the most that we got out of it was, like, Cable's from the future, and we're gonna...
His family died,
Yeah,
so
well,
he's upset.
Well, the one point where where Dopepender's driving him through the woods, and Cable's just like, your generation, this freaking planet into a coma. I'm like,
Right.
okay, but what happened exactly? Because you're in an opportunity to change some things, clearly.
Right. And that's where I think another issue I have with the film comes with the kind of the end credit montage.
Yeah.
They fix the time machine so that it's basically infinite uses now. Before in the movie they excused that they can use it a couple times, and that's why they can't just go back to when he was a baby.
Right.
But then they fix it, and then Deadpool starts using it like crazy, both for comedic effect, but then also kind of undoes the whole plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Which was that, like his girlfriend died.
He got suicidal, and then he needed a reason to...
So then he goes back in time and saves her.
hits the kill with the cream cheese spatula.
The cream cheese spatula. I love when they use that in the opening credits.
Yeah.
Like it's knives. That was a great shot. Yeah. It's very funny, but at the same time it's like...
Uh-huh.
When you start messing around with the time travel thing now, there's no
It's
consequences to a character who already had
everything else.
Yeah, to a character who already had very few consequences.
Yeah.
So, like right now we have a hero that can literally be ripped in half, and it's not a problem, and that's somehow funny now because he'll grow baby legs. So
In a little
yeah. That's the funny part. But like, so now even if something bad happens to people he cares about, it's not even a real problem because he can undo it. So
there's
it's like,
gotta be. They have to elaborate on that.
Yeah,
I get that feeling that what they might do with that in the third one is like maybe Cable will just be like, okay, stop. Why? You are screwing up too much. You can only change so many things.
Maybe there's backlash for messing with the timeline too much or something.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, that gets very complicated for a dark comedy. But yeah, I was gonna say like the end credit montage kind of undoes any kind of suspense because the whole point of the first
then
Deadpool,
Ryan Reynolds dies.
Yeah, because it's like, well, Deadpool can't die, but now no one he cares about can die either. So I think
It's kind of like all the suspense is taken out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so I know you're totally safe now.
Right. I thought what they did with the first one was smart because they were like, okay, well, he can't die, so there's no suspense there. But Francis takes the person he loves the most.
Right.
So that's the suspense. You're like, oh, we don't want him to lose her, and then in the next movie you lose her like immediately. So it's like, I don't know if there was a better way to do it.
There probably was, but they were just kind of going for more safe as opposed to like.
Was there? I'm not sure, but was there a change in writing in the second one? Did Ryan?
Not that I know of.
I think Ryan Reynolds contributed a bit more to the second one than the first one.
I know he did. Yes.
Okay.
He did. He has a writing credit this time around.
I don't think he had one in the first one.
He did not.
Okay, yeah. So like he was a bit more invested in the script itself, and maybe for the sake of that, he was more focused on the humor and the jokes, which I guess for a Marvel comedy, you should probably focus more on that than the plot.
Right.
Because kind of the whole premise of Deadpool is, like, don't take this all too seriously. Mm-hmm. This is just a movie.
Right.
But I also can feel a bit more invested when we take a couple parts of the movie seriously.
Yeah.
So, I'd give it like I'm looking in the B range still for like being humorous and enjoyable.
I'll give it I can see that.
Pretty decent action, especially with that X-Force.
Really good action.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no, wait. What'd you think of Domino? Because I thought that was kind of a funny joke in reference to the comics, where it's like, because some things are referencing tropes, other things are just taking the piss out of like original source material.
So wait, remind me who Domino is.
Domino is she's the black chick who she's lucky. That's
the lucky. Yeah.
That's her power. And
Sorry, we saw this several days ago. We're trying to remember it.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes back.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the
that's mostly
lazy writing joke.
Well, they're kind of just. I think they're kind of just taking a jab at one of Deadpool's creators, Rob Liefeld, because Rob Liefeld, he's not the best writer or artist in the comics industry. I mean, he's enthusiastic. He loves the medium, but he's bad.
But was that one of his superhero ideas?
Yes.
Was just a lucky person?
Yeah, just someone who's like really lucky and can alter probability.
See that? I guess that fit in Deadpool very well because of that's just lazy writing joke, because it's like, well, it is. And saying that is. And the lucky one is kind of like, well, now we can get away with a character who never gets shot, never has bad things happen to her, and the excuse is she's just lucky. And it's like, okay, I mean, should we feel bad for her if something does happen, or does her power stop working, or like
that's what I want to know. Like,
there's less investment now. Is my point. It's like now it's just a very basic plot line for Ryan Reynolds to deliver jokes on, which for a lot of people is fine.
That's not bad. That'll get you some good entertainment.
It's kind of like a different flavor of ice cream, but who doesn't like ice cream? So
yeah,
I like ice cream. Keep giving me the same, the more of the same stuff. Maybe I like chocolate a bit more than cranberry, and you're like,
cranberry ice cream.
Yeah, there's certain ice cream that has little berries in it, and it's like, well, I don't like this as much, but I'll eat it. It's sweet. It's that's kind of how I see Deadpool 2. Yeah, 'cause it's like, yeah, it's good. It's good. The first one's better, but it's enjoyable.
All right.
So that's where I stand.
All right.
I was thinking B plus.
I could see that. Yeah,
I'm around there. Is that where you'd aim?
I could say something like that.
Okay.
Whatever I did for the first Deadpool, say probably the same.
Okay. Pretty on par.
Pretty on par, yeah.
Do you have any expectations now or worries for the
I hope they don't continue that trend of, oh, we're going to reference the lazy writing, so therefore it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like, stop that.
Just like, yeah.
You know who else does that? Grumpy Cat.
Yeah.
Okay?
They were getting to the edge of that, I think. I feel like it was still enjoyable in this movie while they were making jokes about their lazy creative direction.
Right.
But it was pushing that envelope. It's like, go easy on that line.
Yeah, you can only do that so many times before it's like,
Right. Like, I remember the opening night of the first Deadpool, and there were laughs throughout the audience throughout the whole time. And with Deadpool 2, it was kind of... It was there, but a little more sparse. But
it wasn't the same amount of people either.
Yeah. I'm hoping that for 3, they kind of... Just wait until they actually have a really good idea for the character that can still be investment worthy and funny.
That's what, because I was like, okay, they didn't do an after credit scene like they did in the first one. Maybe there's a reason.
No, they had an anti-piracy note, which was kind of funny given this type of character.
Yeah,
I'd figured they'd make a joke about that or something. Hi everyone who torrented this. I thought that's something Deadpool would say, but no. At the very end of the credits, they just have text that says like, "This put 15,000 people into work and they all got paid. Please don't pirate this movie." And I'm kind of like, oh, geez, so serious all of a sudden. Okay,
I would have given.
Don't pirate it.
I would have given the movie points if like Deadpool just saw that and walked out of the side and been like, and only one of them mattered.
Right. Hey, person who pirated this, you're a jerk.
Yeah.
Think of all the people that you just watched. All of them don't get paid because of you. And I don't know, some kind of like end credit. Like the first one had that with the Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's good stuff.
Deadpool marketing is still genius.
Oh my god.
Usually that doesn't matter with a movie, but Deadpool like is just great. Like the Bob Ross.
Deadpool's so
painting.
mimetic.
Yeah, they're just great at marketing those franchises, and just watching the trailers for those are really, really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, decent film.
Good
notch
movie.
below, but
you enjoy it.
Overall enjoyable.
You will enjoy this if you enjoyed the first Deadpool.
And let us know if you liked it more or the same or what you thought.
What are you expecting for Deadpool 3?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Dan Movie Man.
I'm the boy.
And have a good day.